What if I told you that you're multitasking more than you realize, and that is quietly ruining your productivity? In this video, I'll show you the hidden ways you're multitasking, how it's secretly destroying your focus and productivity, and exactly what to do to reclaim your productivity. If you're new here, I'm Marvin Payne, and I'm a former EY consultant turned YouTuber and productivity coach. I spent over a decade in the self-development and productivity space, and the lessons I learned along the way, alongside working with my clients and students, is what I'll teach you in this channel. Now let's get back to the video. So how are you more of a multitasker than you realize? Well, first, there's actually a trap before we even get to multitasking itself, and it's the fact that many people still believe they can multitask in the first place. According to Dr. Larry Rosen's research, the average teen and young adults generally believe they can handle 6 or 7 forms of media at once. But this is an illusion, and I'll get back to this point in a bit. According to Gloria Mark's findings, the average worker is distracted every 3 minutes, and most never get a full, uninterrupted hour in a workday. This shows that people think they're focusing, but in reality, their attention is constantly being hijacked. The term multitasking was originally invented in the 1960s by computer scientists to describe machines with more than one processor. These machines actually could multitask because of their multiple processors. We took that concept and applied it to humans. And here's the problem. We aren't wired like computers. We're actually very single-minded. Professor Earl Miller, one of the world's top neuroscientists at MIT, says that your brain can only produce 1 or 2 thoughts in your conscious mind at once. Every time we think we're multitasking, what we're actually doing is rapidly switching between tasks. And this constant switching comes with significant costs. So let me walk you through 2 of the main ones. There's broad scientific evidence related to the first one. Imagine you're trying to work and suddenly receive a notification text on your phone. You glance at it for a maximum of 2 seconds and get back to your work. In that moment, your brain has to reconfigure when it switches from one task to another. Your brain has to remember what it did before and remember what it thought about. This will take a bit of time. When this happens, evidence shows that your performance drops and you'll be slower, all as a result of switching. This is called the switch cost effect. Every time you switch task, you're not only losing time on the distraction itself, but also the extra time it takes to refocus, which often can be longer. Think about it this way. If you're unintentionally using your phone for 2 hours a day, that is not only 2 hours lost, but 2 hours plus the time lost on switching. The second main cost is one of the biggest productivity costs. When you sit down to work, it takes a bit of time before you get into it. You might even have dreaded the work beforehand, but after working with it, you're suddenly in the zone. You're fully focused and lose all awareness of time and space. During these times, your output is multiple folds more than other times. This is you in your flow state and momentum. But here's the thing, when you regularly switch tasks, you kill this flow state and momentum for that particular task. Imagine you start working and start getting into flow and momentum. Instead of allowing yourself to take more advantage of being in this flow state, you kill this momentum. You start on a new task, and for this task, you have to start from scratch again. You have to go through the initial phase of getting into flow state again to build momentum. And once you're there, you decide to kill it again and switch back to your first task. This is the second main cost, the killing of flow state and momentum. So how do you prevent these 2 huge productivity costs? First, get clear on what task you want to do for a specific period of time. Give yourself enough time to not only get in the zone, but also enough time to stay there and take advantage of being in the zone. Second, remove all distractions. A common mistake people do here is doing the bare minimum. They only put their phone away. This is usually not enough. Your brain knows that you can just move a few steps to get your phone, so it will allow itself to crave the dopamine it hits when your task gets hard or boring. Instead, we want to maximize friction. Turn your phone off or put it on airplane mode. Put it in another room and put it inside a drawer. This clearly tells your brain that even though your task might get boring or hard, the friction to get your phone is so high now that it won't bother, and it's much less likely to create those cravings. We all eventually slip, but if you set things up so that it's hard to derail even when you do slip, you'll protect your focus and productivity. Now that you've set yourself up to protect your productivity, there is one more trick that can multiply it even more, and I'll show you all about it in this video.